It's the Craggy Rugby Podcast. It's the Benetton home game rematch. My name's Alan Deegan. I'm in the sports ground with William Davis. William, we're expecting a win, and a good win tonight from Connacht.
Yeah, it's vital for them, I think, to get a bonus point win tonight. It's not the greatest night for rugby here, but they should be ready to roll here. Benetton haven't won a game all season. Obviously, this is the first of the rearranged games that Connacht are going to have to play, so they'll be delighted to get this game over with, and that means winning 5 points.
I agree. It's quite a few players missing on the Benetton team, and they're actually starting with two scrum halves with Ian Keatley playing in the centre. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. We'll talk again on 20 minutes. We're just gone 20 minutes. There's been a bit of a kerfuffle out there with a block down caused all sorts of messing. But Connacht lead 7-0, score by their captain Paul Boyle.
Yeah, it's a pretty scrappy game of rugby. And there's not much shape or sort of precise play to it. A lot of kicking. Connacht look a little bit rusty. Benetton look a little bit limited. Connacht have a strong enough wind, it would appear, in this first half, so they'll want to be more than 7 points up at half time. They just need to settle down, maybe get ball in hand and actually play a little bit of rugby. Probably have kicked the ball a bit too often, but so far so good.
Indeed. We'll talk again on half time.
Half-time score here at the sports ground. It's Connacht 24, Benetton 7.
Okay, William, half-time. Just heard John tell us, 24-7, bonus point secure in the bag.
Yeah, they've sort of put this game away. You would feel Benetton are quite game, but they're pretty inaccurate, and Connacht have, when they've had the opportunities, they've taken them quite well. Two tries for Paul Boyle. Benetton got back in with a try, and then very silly yellow card, which was, the try was allowed, but it was for what I think in National Football League would be called unnecessary roughness, just somebody doing something a bit silly after the try for Benetton. So
that would be the National Football League of America.
That would indeed be the National Football League of America, just in case anybody's confused. It's strange atmosphere. It's Connacht are just playing like a side that are going to win this. They need to keep their concentration in the second half, and it'll be interesting to see how he uses his bench, because I want to, the players that come on will be expected to really step up, and I don't think Benetton have an awful lot more. Ian Keatley is playing very well for them. He's keeping them in the game. His decision making as the old-fashioned New Zealand second 5/8 he's done some really good things. Good hands.
And he's pumped up for it. But as we mentioned earlier, that wind, we're the wind is sort of coming from behind the Clan stand, so it's not actually, we're not actually feeling very much. But that wind is absolutely howling out there, and it looks like it will be in Benetton's favour in the second half. And there's no better man than Ian Keatley to learn to keep them in the right part of the field.
Yeah, and that'll be key for them. I suppose they need to score next. If Connacht get another score, they can start to ease away. But still a little bit inaccurate, Connacht, and they'll be concerned about that, but the job is done, really.
It is, and that try from Alex Wootton was a thing of pure beauty, with the little bit of skill in the middle of the field, and Peter Sullivan taking a fantastic arcing run and then timing his pass to perfection for Alex Wootton. It's certainly keeping the scoring rate up. We'll talk again on 60 minutes. And as you can hear, the Connacht sideline is much more vocal than it was the last time we played at home. It's just gone 62, and Connacht now lead 31-7. It's pretty comprehensive now.
Yeah, it's sort of become a bit shapeless again. A lot of substitutions on both sides. Big opportunity for the Connacht subs. They've been given a little opportunity to get themselves ready maybe for next weekend. There's a lot of rugby to come, so this is all part of the structure. It's gone really well for them tonight. They've just been in control of this game. Benetton only in fits and starts, and a hat-trick for Paul Boyle in his first game as captain. Now that's a pretty good start to the old captaincy.
Yes, because he's become the first Connacht forward to have ever scored a hat-trick in the professional era. I'm not sure about the amateur era, but in the professional era, he's the first of the forwards to do it.
Yep, and generally it's a matter now of just getting out. You don't want any injuries. Just keep it nice and tight, stick at the job, and try to get a few more tries, and it'll be a case of job done.
It certainly will. We talk again at full time.
At the sports ground, it's finished Connacht 31, Benetton 14.
Yeah, that got very scrappy near the end. Paul Boyle went off with a bit of an injury. Hopefully it's only cramp. They lost for two of it with an injury. So we're actually 14-14 for the last few minutes, but it was very messy, and Benetton got a try just to make the score look a little bit better, but good win for Connacht.
Yeah, they got the job done. They got the 5 points. I think they'll be happy with that. They need to get back on the rugby field because they've had so many disruptions this season. Tempted to say that is going to be a very different game to what they're going to experience in Paris next Sunday week. And that's partly slight bit of the problem, is that this is at best it's a warm up for that. Some good performances. I was impressed with Conor Fitzgerald. I thought he really showed for the ball, got involved, and the pack was good. Owen Masterson had a good game in the second row again. But they'll analyse this and then they'll move on very quickly, because the next 7 weeks are a different league to this.
They most certainly are. Next up, we'll hear Paul Boyle, who got man of the match as well. Surprise, surprise, having scored a hat-trick, and Andy Friend.
Andy, was that the minimum requirement tonight? Bonus point, fairly comfortable win?
Yeah, we talked about it as a leadership group during the course of the week, and we said, listen, we believe we should be a 3-score better team, and tonight we were. So, to have that bonus point at half-time, I thought the way we played that first half was really clever. We used the wind well, and I thought our set piece laid a really good platform for us. So that was good, but that can often trip you up too. And I thought the way we came out in the second half was also pleasing. So we probably dropped away a little bit at the tail end there. Went down to 14 men. That was because of our captain on the night. We had to take him off, but in the end, William, a pretty pleasing performance from us.
Did you have to take him off in case he scored any more tries? That's a good start to a captaincy career. Bonus point win at 3 tries.
Yeah, we might keep that C next to his name. What do you reckon? I think Jared Butler might have something to say about that. No, I thought he was outstanding, mate, and he has been all year. Quality footballer and a great leader, and really pleased for him that he managed to put three tries in next to his name on his first captaincy.
Good work by the forwards. They seem to get on top of Benetton, get inside their heads a little bit, and it, as you say, it was done by half time. Is there a danger in a game like that concentration can just drift away when there's bigger fish to fry down the road?
It can be, and that's what I was pleased with. It. I didn't feel like that happened. I thought certainly in the first 15-20 minutes of the second half, I thought we played some really smart football and we were good. We probably just drifted away at the tail end of it, mate, which was frustrating. But at the same time, it's we'd made a lot of changes, and so we went down to 14 men. But at the end of the day, we'll look back and say, well, it was a 31 points to 14 win and 5 points in the bag for us.
And concentration now starts on 7 very interesting weeks. Trip to Paris next week. So when do you start planning for that?
Yeah, well, we'll give them the weekend off, so Saturday, Sunday off. It's a 9-day turnaround for us. So we've had 2 6-day turnarounds the last couple of weeks, so this is very different. So a couple of days off. We'll come in Monday, Tuesday. We'll have Wednesday off. We'll train on Thursday. We'll have Friday off, and then we'll travel, do our game prep over in Paris, and meet Racine on Sunday next week.
Oh, we certainly look forward to that. Paul, okay, first game as captain. Could it have gone any better? And are you going to get a little bit of stick? Because, let's face it, bonus point, 3 tries, good performance. It's easy, isn't it? You can tell Jared Butler there's nothing to this captaincy stuff at all.
Well, no matter how it goes, you're going to get stick with the group we have. So I think everyone is well used to it at this stage. But again, I was asked outside by Marcus Horn just what I thought of captain and stuff. And I just said that with Sean O'Brien out today, and Jared come in to Saturday, I spoke to him this morning, and he said that I'd given him the messaging all week, and that was he was happy for me to be captain. So that was a great little boost from the captain, and a fellow I've looked up to for the last couple of years, and he's a great leader himself. So kind of set me up on a nice set the day up nicely when I heard that this morning.
Did you approach the game any differently? Was there different things you had to take on board that you had to prepare for? That you just there's a difference between being a player on the day and captain on the day?
Not particularly. Like, I think the thing I like about it as well is you get to speak your mind to the referee a bit more without getting in trouble. So there's a bit of that, but look, maybe not to this level. But I captained Ireland under 20 level, and my club glory the whole way up. I captained again. That's only at underage level, but it gives you great experience in how to deal with referees and how to deal with different situations. So, not that it was seamless, but it wasn't too bad.
And is part of that as well? You have to deal with your colleagues on the pitch. You have to communicate. And I know you're a good communicator all the time. You're always talking, but it's a slightly different emphasis when you're the main decision maker.
Yeah, it may be a little bit, but when I was kind of looking around me, and you have Jarrett there beside me, you have Masters in the second row, Gav Thornbury, who is the line-out operator that everyone listens to, Dennis Buckley, the scrum operator, and I suppose Shane Delahunt as well, who always gets his word across. It's easy, and it's not like I have to force any conversation. The right conversations always happen because you have really good guys there, and they're all leaders in their own right.
Okay, we're after the interviews with Paul and Andy, and we're still socially distancing with our mic, and we're all masked up still, even though it's so cold. There's no way the virus could survive this, I don't think. And the wind is blowing, howling here in the sports ground. But I've got Dave Fenn and Linley MacKenzie. Dave, your thoughts?
Professional. There were things that would be improved on. There were things that would need to be so much better because the level of opposition you're facing the next 7 weeks is going to be so much better. But you can only beat what's put in front of you. It was not a night to be outside in any form, certainly not the night to be outside playing rugby. They got the job done by half time. There were things in that game that didn't make sense, but then you look at the weather and they made a lot more sense. Like yourself, I'm going to take a look at the game afterwards and see exactly what happened. There's at least 2 tries. I don't know what happened.
There was indeed, and Linley, it's not exactly the perfect preparation to be going to Paris next week to play indoors in the U Arena, a wet, dirty, cold, very windy sports ground.
I don't think it actually really matters, quite frankly. I think the best preparation was them going out there and winning, because they have some momentum now. That's what they wanted, although there might be a few changes to the team, obviously. And I think that was the bottom line. They just wanted to get out there and they wanted to win this. They wanted to leapfrog Scarlets into second place, and they've done that. They've achieved it. They've still got another game in hand, remember. So the momentum is now with them. And remember, this is the first time this season they've actually put 2 wins back to back.
Yes.
So that was the most important thing, I think, psychologically for them, and going into the European competition. Because let's face it, they're gonna. One would expect, Connacht, and no disrespect, that they will struggle against the likes of Racing 92 and Bristol. They'll give it a good shot, but I think it might be a step too far. But we don't know. We might be surprised. But people would assume that you are up against a very high quality French outfit, and you've got the likes of Pat Lam's Bristol over there, who are going very strong. So this game here was all about the Pro 14, building a bit of momentum, and they did it professionally. And I thought there were a couple of well worked tries out there, and so I think it was a good result on what is I was about to swear then a bleeding cold night.
I think we can live with bleeding. Was there any injuries, Dave? That Paul Boyle left the field early? Was it just cramp?
We've all played it to whatever level. We've all played in these conditions, and everything hurts. Yeah. The ball hitting off your leg really hurts. I think they were being precautious. I think the same obviously with Sean O'Brien, except it was a bit slightly more serious. But they'd rather not risk it given what's coming up. You do a hamstring tonight against, especially when the game is won, then you're not back this side of Christmas probably. And would you risk? I mean, that's a big blow. That's a big blow for the European games. But then are you going to risk someone like Paul Boyle with a potentially dodgy hamstring in the Interpros, which is another. I mean, let's deal with them. But basically, take him off if you think there's even the vaguest hint there might be something serious, or if you leave him on, it could go wrong. so that at least you have him available for next week, rather than, I mean, there's nothing to be gained from keeping him on, so yeah, take him off.
Yeah, absolutely. I was impressed again with Owen Masterson, who seems to be growing into that second row role wonderfully. Like he's got the most line-out steals in the Pro 14. I think he took at least one or two more there again tonight. It's great to have. It's almost like he's a new player for the team.
Yeah, he's obviously always been a very talented footballer. He's just he's had injuries that have been quite serious injuries. So it's great to see him back. Look, we all know he is a leader. He's another leader in that squad. He's a very intelligent, young man, and I think it's brilliant that he has having some being able to build momentum in his game now, because he hasn't had that. He's had a lot of stop-start type of games and because of injuries. So I think it's great to have him there. He's I know, having spoken to Andy Friend and previous, he is one of the leadership lads in the group, and so it's great that he is on the field there, and he's actually finding his feet in that second row position. Look, that's the versatility, isn't it? If you look at all the players now in Connacht, they all really want them to have not just one position nailed down. They want them to be able to have that greater fluidity, and that's another string for everyone's bow and the development of the squad.
It certainly is. Another person who impressed me tonight off the ball as much as on the ball was Alex Wootton. He does an enormous amount of talking, and it's really impressive stuff, and it's something great. It's not something I'd noticed. Of course, we never noticed the wingers before talking because we couldn't hear them with the crowd. But you can hear it tonight, and at one stage Connacht were going for a try, and all you kept hearing every couple of seconds was patience. And I was looking around near the thing to see who it was, and this Alex Wootton out on the wing, just asking everyone to calm down, be patient, and we eventually got the try. He's some signing. Hopefully we can get him permanently, Dave.
It's one of those great conundrums. If he plays well here, we want to keep him, but then those who must be obeyed will decide he will go down to where he has come from. But I'd like to see him stay here. I thought he was very good. I thought he gives you a threat that you don't always have. I mean, but for an unfortunate knock-on from John Porch, prior to that, he was gone through on a kick that he caught. He took it and he was gone. Everybody kind of knew they're going to go back, but he was still just in case. He's very impressed. Very impressed actually with all the new boys. It's what you want. Your signings to come and hit the ground running. And we've seen it over the last 18 months that the signings have hit the ground running, and this year especially. Look, first of all, I have to advise, I didn't recognise Conor Oliver for 60 minutes. I genuinely, because he's had a bit of a haircut, and I genuinely was going, who the hell is that? So I was looking at, I realised that the guy I was trying to work out who it was all through the warm-up was Conor Oliver. And those guys have been impressive. Sammy Arnold, another quietly impressive game tonight. And even someone like Porch at the back. John is still only here just over a year. Yeah. And this time last year, he probably wasn't even as advanced as Alex Wootton is now. And we now know that John can sit at the back and not necessarily be that prominent with the ball, but you just feel it's safer there with him there. And there's always that explosion. And Wootton the same. And I thought Pete Sullivan, we have to give him a big mention tonight. The only negative thing I'll say about Peter Sullivan, and it's across the board, there's some very dodgy 70 porn star moustaches out there, lads, and Movember is over. If you're gonna go, I'm a beard man, so go full beard. If you're gonna, and I have to say, Sean O'Brien, great to see you come on. Great to see.
This is Sean O'Brien, as he's been known as Junior. But we're trying to find out their middle name, so as we can at least identify them differently via their middle name. We'll hopefully have that by next week.
This is Mullingar Sean O'Brien Jr. I'm sorry. The only negative thing I'll say about him and his appearance tonight was the porn star moustache and the mullet. No, just no.
Okay. And another thing that came up, Linley, apart from this massive sign from the excellent main sponsors for Connacht, Janice has taken over the main section of the Clan stand. We're standing under, giving us a little bit of cover. Is again the lack of fans, but most important, the music selection. Pre-match apparently has now become the players' selection of music. And we were trying to find out who it was, and we believed it was Abraham Papalihi's choice, but we're not sure. but we're going to go with that. And it started off with a couple of fairly modern rappy type songs. I wouldn't know who they are. I'm too old for that. But just as the players come on the pitch, they were greeted by Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers.
No, that's not fair. That's not the first when they came out.
No, I'm talking about for the warm up.
For the warm up was Dolly Parton. They actually came out to Back in Black.
Oh yeah, I was going to come back to that. Yeah, that's fine. By the end, as they run onto the field, that was okay. But you're warming up. They're trying to get themselves going, and you're listening to Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers. It doesn't exactly get the blood boiling. But would you be happy with that?
Maybe Dolly Parton does get their blood boiling. I don't know. I thought there was a distinct kind of relaxed, sort of Pacific vibe, actually, to the music this evening.
Yes.
That to me sounded like quite like kind of music that might come from, that might be familiar or might be enjoyed, sort of, and it just reminded me of Pacific Island music, kind of, because they like that kind of relaxed,
easygoing
music, and I was quite happy actually listening.
Well, as an Antipodean, of course you were. Of course you were. Okay. And
look, I think anything that makes, I think it's great. I think anything that makes them happy, because it is all about them now, because that's all who are here is themselves. So if that's what they want, give it to them. It's not going to cost anything. It's entertaining them, and it's giving them a bit of crack too. You know, they can have the crack afterwards. What sort of music was that, or what? So I mean, I think it's a great for them to be able to choose the music.
Oh, well, you see, I have a slightly different angle on it from Linley. I mean, great. It's nice to know that's the vibe of the association. It was very relaxed. Unfortunately, it was very mid-80s, very Midwest radio. The stuff I grew up on. I didn't think there were that many links between Mayo of the 80s and the South Sea Islands, but a heavy love for sort of that chilled out country vibe. The only thing that was missing was Declan and Ernie, quite frankly, and the two could be just completely misunderstood for each other. The other thing I will say,
absolutely no comparison whatsoever.
I will say one thing about it was quite. I mean, we made a statement after the game against the Scarlets was that there was we were mute, and just to say, it may well have been Abraham again, but somebody was bellowing. Everything was being bellowed, and the guys were there. And there was a few you could.
Yeah, there was a few.
Connacht were at home. We're here tonight. And
that's what I wanted to finish on. I definitely want to finish on that, and I reckon it was Ben O'Donnell, but we'll find out.
The thing about that is that's what Andy Friend said he wanted from now on. Because if you remember at the last match, the Scarlets match, he was very upset that the fact that it was the opposition who had taken charge and taken ownership of the sports ground. They were the ones who were patting each other on the back and whooping. And so he had said that Connacht, that's what he had wanted Connacht to be doing, and they had. But for some reason, he said it was the first time they hadn't actually discussed it or talked about it before that Scarlets match. But they had been previous matches. So obviously that was a big thing. To create your own energy is, I think, the expression that Andy Friend uses. To create their own energy, and I think when you referred to Washington being, a real talker, that's something that they're encouraging. To keep talking on the pitch, keep talking to each other, keep encouraging. And if you notice, when one of those tries was scored, I think just about every single player went up and congratulated the other person and congratulated each other on it. And I think that's part of the ethos and part of the group management of this team, that they have to do that at the moment because it is so empty and cold. And even when they do come running out onto the pitch, or when they leave the pitch afterwards, it is just it's a very, very strange feeling. It's kind of soulless. And I think any team that goes out there and plays in these conditions, it's very hard. It's very hard even for the opposition. They can't get any vibes from coming out here as well,
No, I'm actually talking about the opposition. Just before I finish on that, talking to the opposition, I thought Ian Keatley had one of his better games. I thought he was excellent tonight. I thought he kicked very well. I thought his positioning, he pushed his team around the field when they had the ball, which wasn't very often.
When they have the ball, they're good, and the team is going to improve when they get their internationals back. There's a few guys there. I mean, Braley was with the Italian squad. Scarby, who came on, is a big international. I thought Keatley was going fine. He'd a couple of times, he judged, at times you'd argue he may have judged the wind better than Connor, but then I think Connor did also have the worst of the wind. I was surprised they took him off. I think he was very surprised they took him off. But it's good to see. I mean, maybe getting out of the lunatic ball that can be for Chance in Ireland was good for him, and hopefully we'll see him on. And it was interesting, at 12, why did nobody hear everything about playing him at 12?
Exactly. So we'd like to finish on that, those fans, those Connacht fans, and as I say, I think it was Ben O'Donnell, I might be wrong, but he was certainly making an awful lot of noise, and Abraham was shouting and roaring too. We saw him, and I couldn't quite see who else, because they were the far end of this big, huge orange flag, so we couldn't quite see who it was, but well done, guys, and well done, Connacht. We'll talk again in Europe. We're going to have Packy explain everything about the European. He knows how it all works. He knows all the permutations. He's going to explain everything on Thursday.
That's going to be great, because there's nothing better than having Packy explain rugby to you.
Loose, cut it loose. Break out or nothing changes. Sad and confused.